Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Kitty. On my channel we like to do a variety of things here, from story time, makeup related stuff. I do go live here a lot on my channel. I also do shopping hauls as well as vlogs. So if that's something you are interested in, please consider subscribing. When I first started doing scary stories here on my channel, I was leaning more toward res scary stories. And I feel like I haven't done any scary stories lately and I want to start doing them again. However, I did ask for my viewers, aka subscribers, aka my friends, if you guys can send in some stories so that I can put into a video, and you guys came through. I have 3 stories to tell today, so if you like scary stories, please stay tuned. Just for fair warning, I'm going to be looking down at my computer while I am telling you, so please keep that in mind. So without further ado, let's get into the first story. This first story comes from Mesa, Arizona. My father was a bus driver. I was going to Tucson and I was catching a ride with my uncle. He told me he was going to pick me up at 5 o'clock and to be ready. I woke up at 4 a.m. to get ready. That same day, my dad, who was a bus driver, was taking the seniors to Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. I woke up and started making breakfast. He then went to the bus yard and got everything ready, did his checklist, made sure everything was right and ready for the trip. He didn't say anything to me the entire time. My sister at the time was a senior, so she was going on the same trip with my dad. They had both left together while I was home alone. 30 to 40 minutes later, my uncle came by. I get to Tucson and I get a call from my dad. My dad was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, I'm okay. I'm in Tucson. What's up?" He then asked, "What happened this morning?" I thought to myself, this was weird, but I still walked him through everything that had happened this morning. My dad then told me what had happened. When he got to the bus yard, he was sliding the gate open and he heard a scream. He was wondering if it was the gate or a kid. He stopped. There was no more screaming. He slid the gate open and drove his car in. That day, my dad was told to take the activity bus, the bus they usually use for sports, away games and such. The street light was not lit at all. It was very dim. As you can imagine, at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, the sun is not out yet, so everything is still pretty dark. As he was going west into the bus yard, the buses are facing east toward him. He noticed that someone was in the driver's seat. My dad, being a Marine and a former police officer, nothing really seemed to faze him. He got out the car and said, "Nothing is going to scare me. Whatever you are, I'm going to chase you out." The figure had long ears pointing up with a face that resembled a dog. That thing looked at my dad and shook his head. My dad was disoriented. All of a sudden, he woke up in another bus with all the lights on, all the heaters on. He noticed his car was parked somewhere else from where he had last parked it. He left and took the kids and headed toward Flagstaff. His supervisor later asked him why he didn't take the activity bus. He told his supervisor there was something in it. "I saw something in it." His supervisor was a medicine man and a supervisor for the transportation department at the school. The medicine man said, "Oh, you saw him too?" I remember my dad telling me that the medicine man said, "That thing is so powerful that if they do a ceremony, they," meaning the medicine man, "themselves are terrified to find out exactly what this thing is. It is so evil, more evil than a Yena Gloshi." I was told that means skinwalker. So yeah, sorry if my Navajo is not that well. I tried. I am Apache. Guys, please forgive me. But yeah, that's crazy. I don't know what to think about that one. That is definitely, oh man, when I was describing it, when the ears were pointing up, and ooh, I just got chills. Ugh. And I know I'm not supposed to be telling these stories at night, but I feel this is the only time I have time to film, and obviously I don't want my kids to hear, but next time I'm gonna have to do these stories during the day. So let's get into our next story. Again, if I'm pronouncing words not correctly or to your liking, please excuse me. I am not Navajo. I do know the Navajo language is similar to the Apache language, but you guys have different dialects and such, so if I say it funny, please forgive me. This next story comes from Rock Point, Arizona. We were at a ceremony known as the Kinalta in the Navajo culture. It is a traditional coming-of-age ceremony for the young woman that lasts 4 days. As the ceremony was taking place, my uncle and I had to watch the cake. The cake is called alkan and is prepared by the young woman and is cooked underground. We took turns watching it all night. Around 3 a.m. it was my turn to watch. We were a little ways from the hogan. I added more wood to the fire as the fire was starting to get low. All of a sudden, I heard the dogs barking. I thought to myself, what the hell? That never happened before. I ended up dozing off during my watch and fell asleep. Oh, you just know something's bound to happen. The way this is going, you just know something's about to happen. Somewhere along that time, this thing, whatever it was, came to the front door to the hogan where my cousin's ceremony was taking place. The thing was like a dog. It was at the door and it hit the door, causing it to swing open. My cousin yelled out for my uncle, the same uncle that I was helping tend to the fire and cake. My uncle is not afraid of anything. We all know him to be brave and not scared of these types of things. He woke up, jumped up, and ran to the door. There was nothing. He then asked me if I was awake. I woke up and asked him what had happened. He then told me that something came into the hogan. Whatever it was, left some type of writing on the wall inside the hogan. After the puberty ceremony, we had another ceremony, but this was a different kind of ceremony. We went to see the medicine man to see who or what that thing was that came to interrupt my cousin's ceremony. The medicine man had pointed us to the right direction. Come to find out, it was one of our own relatives who lived just a ways from where the kinalta was taking place. It turns out that this certain family member didn't want anything positive to happen for the girl, my cousin, who was having her kinalta. Sometimes, in the Navajo way, even your own family members can wish bad on you. Ooh, I feel like that happens a lot in other cultures and other native tribes as well. But I feel like out of all the tribes here in Arizona, I feel like witching and stuff of that type is the activity is very high on the Navajo Nation. I have Navajo friends, and you just hear these types of stories going on over there, and it's pretty scary. And it's like even your own family doing this type of stuff. So yeah, that's a spooky one for sure. This next story comes from San Carlos, Arizona, where I'm from the casino. I've heard scary stories coming from the casino all my life, and here is one of them that someone had sent in. I should begin by saying our property is haunted by different spirits or ghosts. The casino itself is haunted all around, but the most popular one is Tommy Boy. It's a little boy that is seen all over the casino. He likes to play and tease the employees and sometimes cause a little mischief. For example, he likes to move stuff in my office and sometimes kicks my office door. The steakhouse and the pavilion, a cowboy and an elderly lady have been seen there a couple of times. The golf course is haunted by children. The hotel, I don't know about that one. There is a lot of things happening there, and I've heard a lot of stories, but there's one in particular that makes me uneasy when I go there at night. I've definitely heard stories about the hotel. That is why when Sierra and I went to go spend a night, even though they renovated it, and you know, when people do renovations, stuff start happening because those spirits don't like it. And so when Sierra and I went to San Carlos, the front desk person, whether they want to believe it or not, I was like, do not put us in a haunted room. And she just laughed. I'm like, I'm serious. I know what's up. Do not put us in a haunted room. And apparently she didn't. So on Graveyard, it was a slow night a few years ago, and my supervisor was telling us scary stories to keep us awake. He told me one night there was a call to the hotel, so he responded. He went to the front desk and asked what was going on. The clerk told him she got a noise complaint on a room that isn't occupied by anyone. I just got the chills. So he figured maybe someone snuck in somehow, because we get a lot of people trying to sleep at the hotel. So he made his way to that room, and he said he could hear the TV and radio clock from down the hall. So he said all he was going to do was have whoever was in there leave. He got to the room and he started banging on the door and yelling, "Security!" He did it for about a minute and called for another security to bring the master key so they can go into the room and check it. Once the key arrived, him and that officer unlocked the door and went inside. He said that everything in the room was on full blast. The shower, the sinks, the TV volume, the radio clock, and all the lights and lamps were on. They checked the windows to make sure no one jumped out, but they were locked and the screen was on. After looking around, they turned everything off and left. They told the front desk and they said they'll check back later. Then, between an hour or two, they got called again for the same room, same noise complaint. So this time they went to the front desk, got the master key, and were just gonna rush into that room. My supervisor got there first, and there was another supervisor catching up to him. He put the key in, unlocked the door, and pushed the door open, but it didn't open all the way. He said it opened about an inch, but someone stopped it. At the same time the door stopped, he said a male voice angrily yelled at him and yelled, "Wait!" He looked back at the other supervisor and he said he heard it too. So my supervisor shoved the door open, and when he did that, everything shut off. The TV and the lights all shut off. They did another look around and still found nothing out of the ordinary. That story always stays in the back of my head when I go to the hotel. Even walking near that room feels uneasy, like I'm being watched or someone is behind me. Ooh, that's creepy. Why am I telling these stories at night? Never again, Kitty, never again. Yes, I have heard some scary stories, and I want to say I mentioned it here on my channel. Let me double check. If I did not, I will mention it in a future video. Please give this video a thumbs up, and please help me keep the scary story vibe going. I know you guys like these scary stories, so please help me out by sending your scary story in. You can remain anonymous. As you can tell, I didn't mention any names in these 3 stories. Please contact me through email and send me your scary story. I would love to share it here on my channel. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.